Okay. So we want to see the practicals of writing of algorithm. So you want to say algorithm is the second thing that you do in problem solving process. The first thing, that's what we dealt with last week, that you need to specify the problem, understand the problem, and also analyze the problem. So, and from the problem, you have been able to identify the input data, output data, and the processing requirements. So now, if you want to write your algorithm, I've already told you about two ways of writing our algorithm, that you can make use of pseudocode and you can also make use of flowcharts. So if you want to make use of either pseudocode or flowchart, there are keywords that you can use. So to indicate input data, you can say read, obtain, get, input, and you can see that they are all in capital letters. If it is output now, you can write print, display, show, put. So if you want to process something or you want to compute something, you can write compute, you can write calculate, you can also write process. Don't forget that all these things are in capital letter. If you want to give an initial value to a particular variable, you can write set, you can write init. You use set when that data is a constant. You use init when it is a variable. That means that is the initial value. The value can change as you progress on. So these are the keywords that you can use when you want to write algorithm. So we want to start with pseudocode. So I try to comment this. So if you want to write pseudocode, from the attribute of an algorithm, most of the time your algorithm will have an input, but it must have an output. So most of the algorithm or the pseudocode we will be writing, they will have both input and output. So you have to specify what is your input and what will be your output. So you have to specify the two. So now you will write in capital letter input. So for example now, the problem at hand I want to do now is to compute area of a rectangle. So we want to write a pseudocode. To compute area of rectangle. So something like this. So when you have something like this, if you do the analysis of this problem, you already know that your input data is about the length and the breadth of the rectangle, and your output data is the area. And when you want to compute, area is equal to length times breadth. So your input, we state your input. In this case, you have your input as length and you have breadth. Then your output. So your output now is area. So area is your output. So having written your input and your output, the next thing that you're going to write is, you will now begin. You can write 1, and that is steps. But at the same time, you can write step. Mostly we write it in capital letters, step 1. So begin to write. So step 1 is start, because your algorithm must have a beginning and it must have an end. It is only God that is that you don't know the beginning and you don't know the end. But when you are writing algorithm must have a beginning or an end. So if for your start, now part of the keyword for starts, you can write starts, you can write begin. For stop, you can write stop, you can write end. So I choose to use the word start. So step 1 is start. So your algorithm must start from start. So then your step 2 now. So your step 2 will be your input. So you now write input length and breadth. Then your step 3. Your step 3 will be compute or process. Compute area is equal to length times breadth. So you have done the computation. So your step 4 now. Step 4 now will be the output. So you can write print area. Then your step 5, we said it must have a beginning and it must have an end. So your step 5 will be stop. So this is a very simple one, a very simple pseudocode. So from here, anybody can pick it up and use any language to write this particular, to convert this particular pseudocode into code. Pseudocode means false code, and we make use of English-like statement as we have explained before now. So let's do another simple one. Maybe something like compute the area of a circle, something that has what do we call it? That has a constant. So you can say write a pseudocode to compute area of a circle. So if you want to compute area of a circle, you must be sure of your input is radius, because area of a circle is pi r square. Your input is radius, then another input that you have is pi, but pi is a constant. So you are going to set pi, but you are going to input radius. So you now write it like this. Inputs. So your inputs now, you have your pi. You write it in capital letter because it is a constant. Then you have your radius. Now you now go to your output. So for your output, what we want at the end of the day is the area of the circle. So you now start your step 1. So for your step 1, it is start, or let's change this time around and write begin. So your step 2 now, you will now input or read. Okay, I want us to use another thing apart from input. Read radius. So that means that you should take in the radius. And your step 3 will now be set pi to be equals to 3.142. So because pi is a constant, that's why we are using the word set for pi. And radius is a variable, so we are using read for radius. So after that, you are now going to do another thing. Your step 3. Mind you can also write 1, 2, 3 without writing step. It depends on you. So your step 4, your step 4. So it will now be compute area is equal to pi multiply by radius, then multiply by radius, because it is pi r square. So your step 5 will now be output or display area. So after output, the last thing you are going to do, we are through. So is to end. So this is the end of this simple algorithm. So I want us to do another one that has initial value, something that has initial value. For example, if you want to sum something, maybe you want to add score of 5 students now. We will need an initial value because the variable called